pursued a degree in geography and resource development with political science. From there, I went to GIMPA to do my executive master's in governance and leadership. So that is by way of my educational background. Mr. Chairman, I started work with my national service at Navrongo in the Upper East region with a local NGO called Northern Ghana Girls Academy. It was an NGO that was dedicated to promoting education among girls dropouts. So I did that. From there, I came to Accra, where I was appointed as a research officer for the new Patriotic Party at the headquarters. After 3 years, the National Executive Committee, NEC of NPP, appointed me as the party's first ever policy analyst. I did that one, and then in the year 2004, I contested the party's parliamentary primaries, won in Achimamponwa, to present the people of Achimamponwa. I came to Parliament in the year 2005, at the age of 29, as the youngest in that Parliament. Mr. Chairman, I have served a number of committees in this House. I came here as the Vice Chairman of Youth and Sports Committee of Parliament. After a year or so, I became the Chairman of Youth and Sports Committee and Culture of this House. Then when we came into opposition for 8 years, I've been a ranking member for Committee of Youth, Sports and Culture. Mr. Speaker, the Chairman, I also served on a number of committees, Finance Committee and also Public Accounts Committee, and you would appreciate the fact that I did my best on that committee. The Chairman,
who are you addressing? Who do you expect to appreciate or your work on that point?
To my honorable Chairman.
I was never a member of that committee.
Anyway, I've also served on the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, Privileges Committee, and a host of others. So that is a bit background about me. And then, Chairman, if you look at my CV, critically, I've also undertaken a number of trips, tournaments, with regards to the national teams. Just recently, I was in Libreville, Gabon, with the senior national team, AFCON 2017. Then, September 2015, I was part of the delegation to Congo Brazzaville, All African Games. June 2013, member of parliamentary delegation to Turkey. We brought the gold from Turkey, the Under-20 World Cup that Ghana won. I was part of that very important delegation as a ranking member of Youth and Sports. Then, January 20, July 2012, member of parliamentary delegation to London Olympic Games.
Chairman, with your indulgence, can the nominee now focus on his political public life? Share with us your political public roles.
He has spoken to that already.
No, well, there's more.
Yeah, I think, Mr. Chairman, yes. I've been chairman of my party sector committee on youth and sports, manifesto committee, that is 2016, for example. I chaired that committee. Then 2012, I also chaired that committee, sector committee on youth and sports, my political party. Between 1999, between 2003 and 2005, I was elected as the first ever national youth secretary of the party at our maiden special delegates conference in Secondary. And then 1999-2000, I was chairman of NPP, University of Ghana branch. In those days, we used to call them branches. Indeed, I formed University of Ghana TESCOM when I was living in the year 2000. But nowadays, we used to call them branches of the party on the various campuses. And then
Honorable, I think there's enough for now. But what I can see very clearly, you are one of the people you can call a career politician. Your life has been politics and more.
Yes, and I'm proud of that, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
that's my career. Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
If there are any questions, any clarifications on the CV, we'll take it and then continue from there.
Let me do. Chairman, let me start so that I'll yield to our other colleagues and probably to join Mr. Speaker with the Deputy or Majority Leader for the business of today. Honorable Isaac Asiamah. I have Isaac Asiamah on your CV, but the letter dated 7 January 2017 by President of the Republic Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, 17 January 2017, has Honorable Isaac Asiamah. Are you the same person?
Mr. Chairman, yes, please. I'm the same Isaac Asiamah, Isaac Asiamah, same.
Is Isaac Asiamah and Isaac Asiamah the same?
Mr. Chairman, as you know, normally it's about the surname and the first name. The maiden names are normally quite subdued. So that is why the Isaac Asiamah.
What is your official name?
Mr. Chairman, official name is Isaac Asiamah. I take it.
Chairman, may I lead him to page 2 of his CV? I'm aware that 2003 to 2009, I probably played this role with you in my capacity then at the NDC headquarters, National Youth Organizer. You were not just policy analyst for the MPP, but policy analyst for the IEA IMD Netherlands project. Is that the case? And should we improve that on your CV?
Mr. Chairman, the ownership of that project belongs to the political parties. So my party appointed me as their policy analyst. So that is why I stated that point clearly.
Chairman, the next page.
Mr. Chairman, you said your party appointed you. In the MPP constitution, is there a position for analyst?
Yes, it is. As we speak now, we have a political analyst. In terms of the administrative structure, yes, please, let me clarify. In terms of the administrative structure, you know, the policy analyst works directly under the General Secretary, who is the chief administrator of the party. So that is the structure. It's part of the administrative setup of the party and not the elective setup. Thank you.
Chairman, that leads me to page 3 before I yield to the Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa. Membership at Chairman's pleasure. 2009 to 2017, no date, no January, you just say 2009 to 2017, followed by 2006 to 2009, and then 2013, then you have date. You don't even say to date. Then you have 2009 to 2017 again. You have 2005 to 2009. Do you want us to proceed with some corrections that are appropriate?
Mr. Chairman, in the wisdom of the committee, I appreciate it.
Chairman, my last on CV, your own words, tournaments attended. Are you suggesting to this committee that you didn't attend local tournaments? And more importantly, we see all of it being listed elsewhere. More importantly, to borrow your own words, in some instances, you are member of parliament delegation. In other instances, member of parliamentary delegation. Which one do you want to be associated with? And must we correct that? Thank you, Chairman.
So, Chairman, I think item 6 also on that same issue. There is this Ghana 2008 tournament that I participated fully. It's also recorded here. So not only outside tournaments. So, Chairman, thank you.
Any more on the CVs? Yes.
I'm grateful, Mr. Chairman, and congratulations, Honorable Isaac Asiamah. I want you to come with me to page 2 of your CV. I want to understand, under educational background, the last entry under educational background, the year, you have 198 to 1987. Can you please clarify the specific year, exactly what you want to communicate?
It should be 1987, 88. That is what that should be corrected.
1987 to 1987.
1987 to 88, yes.
87
88.
to 88. So,
yeah, that's
all right. And can you please explain to us what was happening between 1988 to 1991? You spent 1 year in Chirapatre LA Junior Secondary School, Kumasi, 88 to 89, and then 89 to 91, Kaneshi Anglican Junior Secondary School. Can you please clarify those entries?
Well, a very interesting development happened in my life. My sister took me from Kumasi to stay in Kumasi. Then after a year, she was relocated to Accra, so I flew there to Accra. So that is why I spent just a year in Kumasi and came to finish it in Accra. Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, on page 3 of the CV and the membership of parliamentary committees, you do not list your membership of the committees of the 7th Parliament, the current Parliament. Can you please provide that information?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
On what committees are you serving?
I thought you were going to provide that.
So far, one committee have been given. Mines and Energy Committee.
Still on that page, I hope we have your permission to just tidy up school leadership positions held. The Vice President of the Students' Representative Council. We just have to tidy up that for you. And on page 4 of your CV, the tournaments attended, you only give us the months. Do we take it that you couldn't recall the specific dates, or are you able to provide the specific dates for these tournaments you attended?
I think the dates and the months and the years. The first one, for example, January 2017. We have September 20.
Yeah, but this will connote the entire January. You were not. I'm not sure you were there January 1st to January 31st. So we deal with specifics as our template enjoined you to do. Are you able to give us those specifics?
The Chairman, the template I read was about the month and the year. I don't know whether that's what I read, but the month and the year. So that's why I did that. That's the instruction I had from Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
So are you able to provide us with the specific dates of these tournaments?
Like 18th to whatever. Well, I will do that. Mr. Chairman, I will do that. Thank you.
We are grateful for that. Still on that page, conferences and... do we have your permission to just leave it at steady visits? I think that is neater. Steady visits. I think that will...
At your pleasure, Mr. Chairman.
That will suffice. Your last page, page 5 of your CV, under references, do we have your permission to correct the name of the majority leader, Honorable Chairman Sabonsu? You left out his hyphens. You know he doesn't joke with them.
You are right, Mr. Chairman. That should be corrected.
And we also need your permission to properly indicate the email address you have provided. You notice that your keyboard might have let you down. The @ symbol is not there. Have you noticed the email addresses for both references? Honorable Chairman Sabosu and Honorable Dan Kwekuboche.
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just that I thought I had passed the test of Samuel Kudjatu. Because when he was mentioned to me, they checked Samuel Kudjatu. He would go, chase no, I'm happy. Striving for excellence. I'm okay.
Mr. Chairman, that's it from my end. Thank you.
Okay, now we're ready. Honorable, hello.
Congratulations, Minister Designate. You've been friendly with all people except me.
Mr. Chairman, henceforth, I'm more friendly to her than another person.
Okay, thank you. Page 165 of the NPP manifesto, and I'm referring to bullet 3 or C, where it was stated that in partnership with the private sector, youth development and sports centers will be established in all regions. And this is a multi-purpose center with ICT, lab, social hall, and so on. This is a very laudable initiative. I just want to know when you think this can materialize. When are we getting these established? Which of the regions will be the first to benefit from such a laudable initiative?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our manifesto places much emphasis on job creation. For that matter, sports will be used as a tool for job creation, and that is why we believe that getting these centers across the country will help young people, those in sports. For the timelines, we have a 4-year mandate to deliver. So definitely we are going to roll out our programs, and we are going to make sure that within this 4-year mandate that NS have given us, this manifesto pledge is fulfilled. Thank you.
And that will be in all the regions?
Yes, as stated here.
Okay, we look
That's
forward.
the social contract we have with Ghanaians.
Okay, I'll be watching out for that. Second question really is about the perception among the general public that as a nation, our concentration has been on football to the detriment of other sports. What are you going to promote other sports? Recently, I heard of some people trying to bring in the martial arts, for instance, which is a multi-million-dollar program or sports in other countries. So how or when are we going to see some interest in the other lesser-known sports? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I remember that when I was nominated by His Excellency the President at the Golden Jubilee House, I made this point emphatically that I'm not going to be a minister for only football, but a minister for all the sporting disciplines. I made this point clear, and I want to repeat it here. Mr. Chairman, we have about 40 sporting disciplines in this country. And for us, we have talents out there, numerous talents out there, young Ghanaians out there who could make career out of some of these sporting disciplines. So our job, our task is to ensure that we promote all these sporting disciplines. So we've gone ahead to state in our manifesto that we are going to create a special desk at the Ministry of Youth and Sports to track the work of these other sporting disciplines, their progress and everything, and also to invest heavily in this so-called lesser-known sports. I don't believe there are any lesser-known sports anywhere, but that's what we have in this country. Elsewhere, rugby, cricket are their number one sports. So I don't want to be using that expression of lesser-known sports, but that is for ease of understanding. But we need to develop all the sporting disciplines. That is why in the manifesto, we're going to state that we are going to create what we call youth in sports, with special emphasis on women participation or young women participation in sports. We need to make sure that all these interests are catered for. So within that period of youth in sports, under the Youth Employment Program, and you know, Mr. Chairman, that program is, in terms of funding, is very reliable in terms of funding, because there are these statutory funds from the communication service at 80%, health insurance 10%, get fund 5%. So this project, another project, has funding available. And when we talk of youth employment, it's for young people. And the sports category, those who are interested in sports, mainly young people. So why don't we create a program under the YE to address the concerns of young people in sports? We are going to do that, Mr. Chairman.
Follow up. If you say that we should not describe some other sports as lesser known, I would not agree with you. Because if you go to the village, in my village, in the remote villages, it's football. They've not heard of cricket. They've not heard of others. So I will not believe, I agree with you totally that some sports are lesser known.
Just to state on record that when you are speaking on this platform like this, it's for both domestic and international audience. So as a potential minister, with your permission, I should set the record straight, fast straight, so that those who are interested in rugby will not be discomfortable with me. Will not say that potential minister of sports on their platform did indicate that their number one sporting discipline is lesser. That's why on this platform, I wanted to set the record straight that we should give that recognition to all the sporting disciplines because they are important. But, Mr. Chairman, it's important the point Honorable has made. Yesterday, when I met some agencies and me, and they were discussing about, I even charged them to do a survey on the popularity of our sporting disciplines. Because Mr. Chairman, as she did indicate, yes, obviously, there are some communities when you go there, you can only see a football pitch. That's true in Ghana here. That's the truth. Other sporting disciplines are not there at all. It doesn't also mean that we don't find people who are interested in those sporting disciplines. Maybe it's a stereotyping. But if we should improve upon it and give recognition to all the disciplines, we can have others who are also interested in these other sporting disciplines. So that is, madam, you are right. In Ghana, when you go to most places, you can only, the presence you feel is about football and not the other disciplines. It's something the ministry needs to work on it. Thank you.
Barbara.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations, Mr. Asiamah. I'm sure you're going to do a lot of good work in that ministry.
Thank you, my dear.
Well, I have 3 questions. At the senior high level, you realize that we have great sports men and women, young females and males as well. But after completion, they get to the universities and they pursue other programs. They go into the sciences, they want to become medical doctors, lawyers. What will you do to encourage these young people to pursue sports at the tertiary level and even higher? Thank you,
Mr. Chairman. That is about consistency in academic pursuit, which we have also identified. And that is why in our manifesto, we are talking of setting up colleges of sports in 3 critical areas. The Savannah belt, the Middle belt, and the Coastal belt. 3 colleges of sports, so that people who are interested, right from the infancy, from the basic level, will pursue it further. That is clearly in the manifesto. Interestingly, this country does not have a single college of sport. Somebody may ask, what about Univer College? So, Chairman, it is not even accredited. Univer College. So some of us may prefer to call it a training center. Univer Sports College, for your information, is not even accredited. It doesn't even have a curricula. So Ghana as a student does not or cannot boast of a single sports college. That is why this manifesto addresses this handicap. So we are going to make sure that we get colleges of sports in 3 areas so that young people can pursue further education in sports. That has been addressed in the manifesto. And we are going to make sure that we get these colleges established. Thank you.
Very much. Honorable, I nearly said honorable. Yes, of course, honorable. Do you have plans for women in sports?
Yes, I hope I touched on it briefly, that we are going to create youth in sports with special emphasis on young women participation in sports. That is it. And also scholarships to young women to pursue sports at other academic centers. So we have special plans for young women, and I hope we are going to be one of the crusaders for that project. Thank you.
President, so we should be looking forward to that in our constituencies as well.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I want to look at the issue of corruption and mismanagement. Assuming you are confronted with that in your ministry, what can you do to alleviate that? Thank you.
My party in government is a party of rule of law. It's a party of rule of law. So the law must work. If you are found to have embezzled funds, to have corrupted yourself, to have mismanaged state funds, the law must work. So that is all. The law must work. And I'm going to provide a leadership that fights against corruption at the ministry. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, thank you very much.
Honorable
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, let me follow up on the corruption issue that was raised by our colleague. Honorable nominee, you know corruption has become an international scar on football and its governing body, FIFA, because of the recent developments. And even among Ghanaians, the perception of corruption in football is there. Can you tell us what specific interventions you intend to embark upon to restore confidence and to erase this perception of corruption in football in this country?
Corruption in football. Mr. Chairman, yes, honorable member did allude to that is perception in football. Mr. Chairman, I believe that a leader must have a vision. A leader must ensure that whatever you do, there's transparency and accountability, and that you follow due process. That is it. So I believe that in this country, in fighting corruption, we should follow due process. Mr. Chairman, I'm very uncomfortable when I'm dealing with this issue of perception. So I thought maybe the honorable colleague could narrow it down to some of the specific issues so that I will be comfortable addressing them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, what I said was that in the minds of several Ghanaians, and indeed when you listen to discussions in the media about football, one dominant issue has to do with corruption. And normally, when people have perception that an institution is corrupt or an activity is engulfed in this act of corruption, people are reluctant to support the cause. And I just want to know how you are going to work on this in order to restore confidence and to erase, whether erroneous or whatever, the perception of corruption in football in Ghana.
Chairman, I hope I've already answered this first part. He is still unable to give instances. That instances I can speak to them specifically. That is the point. So you should narrow it down to those specific instances because he is also in this country.
He is saying that in the minds of Ghanaians and the rumors, there is corruption in football. Is asking you whether you are capable of taking any specific interactions to remove what people have in their mind. So just answer it that.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, I did indicate that a leader must ensure that whatever you do, there's transparency and accountability. So if there's accountability in the process, then that is the point. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, you see, fighting corruption at any MD reserve office. Let me take the case in my sector, youth and sports, and then to youth, to football. So, Chairman, I've been ranking member for 8 years. Before that, I was chairman of that committee. There are many enough accountability mechanisms in place to check any ministry if we are serious fighting corruption. Within Parliament here, we provide oversight. Within that ministry, we have committee on youth, sports and culture that should provide oversight. And also, through Parliament, East Public Accounts Committee is also supposed to provide oversight and fight corruption. And I can remember instances when our committee, we have invited the minister together with his able lieutenants. They have appeared before us to answer questions. Instances, I also served on the Public Accounts Committee, where GFA has appeared before the Public Accounts Committee. So there are enough accountability mechanisms to fight those things, but it's about how serious we are as a country. That is the point. That is the issue. The Parliament, our job is fight corruption. That's our number one job. This August House, our number one job is to make sure that the MDs are accountable to the people of this country. So we are all equally responsible for fighting corruption. That is the point.
Honorable.
And I need the support of everybody. in fighting corruption at the means of youth, including committees in Parliament that will provide oversight. And I gave those committees. Youth response is there, Public Accounts Committee is there, and Parliament itself should stamp its authority on the executive in fighting corruption. Thank you.
Honorable, I'm with you on this point, but let's look at it this way. When Parliament approves a budget for a ministry, the Parliament does not see anything about it again until after expenditure. And the report, Public Accounts Committee report, comes to us. So the expectation is that the minister and the agencies would play by the rules, ensure value for money. Those ones, maybe a parliamentary committee may come and investigate, but the in-house structures are what I believe we want to know, how you use the in-house structures to deal with issues to assure that there's value for money, there's accountability, and there's transparency. But the other thing really on these matters is that a lot of those involved in football are not under you, so to speak. Their face is independent, so they say. And what referees do with teams and their managers and other ones, I don't know, you want to hear how you deal with referees and football managers and players. We're interested in that part.
Chairman, the reason why I started Parliament is the obvious reason, Mr. Chairman. Having observed all this happiness in the ministry, Parliament took a bold step in passing the Sports Act. Very important. That's the work of Parliament. At the last Parliament, we passed the Sports Act, and part of it is about internal mechanisms that were put in place to ensure that the National Sports Authority becomes more assertive and more proactive. So it's here. We are even going to have to say that all monies received by way of sponsorship, gifts, and other benefits for national teams are to be properly accounted for by the national teams. And this is a work to be done by the National Sports Authority. And I want to make this point clear. Mr. Chairman, when I'm confirmed by this August House, as the minister, I will not be dealing directly with the GFA. This one should make clear to everybody. The GFA should route all their programs through the National Sports Authority before it comes to my desk. Yes, I will not be dealing directly with the GFA. When we approve, the law is there, it's clear. GFA must route all their programs to be sanctioned by the National Sports Authority before the minister comes in. It's one of the mechanisms we have put in place in checking our agencies and IS. Because, Mr. Chairman, sometimes ministers become implementers. Very unfortunate. The job of a minister is not to become an implementer. You are in charge of formulating policies for your agencies to work, so you can provide the oversight, the monitoring and evaluation. That is the work of a minister, not to be directly involved in. Mr. Chairman, why should I take a minister to go and negotiate bonuses of the national teams? It's unfortunate. It doesn't have to happen. No. They are bodies who are supposed to do that. So we need to strengthen our mechanisms we fight corruption.
Please ask another question. Order. Please. Let me remind all the supporters from Achuma Punya and Achuma Mabeja and others that in the House of Parliament, clapping is strictly forbidden. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry for that. And Mr. Chairman, let me make this point clear. I'm happy and I'm glad that my former minister is here. So all of us work together to ensure the passage of this law. So Honorable Nii Lantey Vanderpuye, kudos. Thank you.
Your mic. Honorable nominee, in responding to an issue that, in your response, just that the one you ended, you made a statement that as a minister, you are not supposed to be implementing policies on yourself, by yourself, but you are to monitor and evaluate. And that even bonuses, you are not supposed to be negotiating bonuses yourself directly as a minister.
Directly. It has come under the agency that is GFA, and that is the point. Yes.
I've not ended my question. You take your time and answer the question. As minister in charge of the sector, you are responsible for whatever happens in that particular ministry. Now, if you assume the position of a monitor, monitoring and evaluating the performances of these people working under you, would you accept blames as well as places when they go wrong or they succeed? I'm saying this because, per our understanding of the executive, you will initiate policies, you will implement your policies, and then Parliament will exercise oversight responsibility over you. So if we allow people to go and negotiate, they go and negotiate and they come out with a figure, then people start talking about it. No, this is not realistic. It's far, far, far above what should have been given them. What happens to that?
Mr. Chairman, I believe and respect the principle of ultimate responsibility. My job, as I said, is to formulate, coordinate, harmonize, monitor, evaluate the performance of agencies under me. So I respect the principle of ultimate responsibility, but they are implementing agencies. That's why when we look at the setup, we have the ministry. That is it. And we have what we call implementing agencies. They are there. So that's the point. So we want to do that. There are checks. Those is what if a minister begins the negotiation and he fails, who comes in? Where are the checks? If you begin the process and you fail, who comes in? That's why there must be a body, that structure, so that when they fail, it moves up, and then the minister comes in. That kind of respect and honor and dignity. We need to respect certain positions, very important. And that's what I want to bring to the Minister of Youth and Sports, that the minister will have to respect the structures under it, so that the structures will work. If they fail, ultimate responsibility rests with the minister. Thank you.
So it means that the minister will be part of the negotiation, but at the end of the negotiations. Because if the minister says that I'm not part at all, that's a different matter. I want us to have it on record that as part of the executive, you are part of the implementing agencies. And therefore, you come in at the end of the negotiations, but not at the beginning. Is that the impression you are creating?
That means that I'm ultimately responsible. That answers it.
Then, Mr. Chairman, my last question. You also mentioned the Sports Act 2016, and then you mentioned the National Sports Authority. This act was assented to by His Excellency in December 2016, which means that this year we will have to implement whatever is captured in the act. So, looking at the provisions of the act as you were recounting, what is the future of GFA?
It's captured within the act. The GFA will have to work under the National Sports Authority. Sports Authority has to make sure that GFA becomes answerable to Ghanaians. The concerns of Ghanaians will have to be answered through the National Sports Authority. That is it. And also, Sports Authority must ensure that GFA provides the kind of services Ghanaians want, ensure that our national teams are well placed, ensure that they have the right resources, ensure that we win more gold for Ghana. Thank you.
What is the position of the act on GFA?
Honorable Opoku, please, you have exhausted your opportunities. Now, Honorable Kujo.
Thank you, Chairman, for the opportunity. Honorable Minister Designate, congratulations for your appointment.
Thank you, my brother.
I will read out some little definition for you to set the context for the question. Very short one. An academy, the concept of academy. An academy is a place of study or training in a special field. Or you can also see it as a society or institution of distinguished scholars comprising scientists, artists, or any other professionals who maintain standards in a particular field. Now, when we watch TV and we're talking about sports, comprising athletics and games, and all endeavors in sport, we see some performance of people, whether in driving, simple driving, the Michael Schumachers, whether in running, whether in any field, whether table tennis. These are well-structured, planned programs that start with the kids and groom them to that level of performance rather than targeting grown-ups. Now, my question is that, would you look at National Sports College as a stand, resource it to perform that technical support, and use all the emerging clubs, like the Dansuman Swimming, the Dolphins, like the Athletic Club in Lashibi, which are springing up in the system, and provide state and governmental support to bring up these high-performance athletes for us Ghana to compete.
No part of the question?
Yeah, Chairman, I'm setting the context for him.
Make it simpler for all of us to follow you, please.
Would you do that for Ghanaians so that we will see high-performance athletes rather than the status quo? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I did mention about the College of Sports. What we intend doing is get the legal framework for the colleges of sports. So we intend, and I'm happy that I read something, handing over notes, that something has started on this colleges of sports bill. That is the point. That will set the legal framework for all these colleges that want to set up soccer academies and all this, and must have certain benchmarks, certain rules and regulations. They must all be captured in the document. So when that is passed, we have colleges of sports Act that will give the legal framework for all the concerns the honourable member has raised. Thank you.
Okay. All right. No, you came before he. All right.
Thank you very much, Chairman. And let me congratulate Honorable Isaac Asiamah on your nomination to the Ministry of Youth and Sports. And as you know, we have, I think, over 300 radio stations and television, about 70 television stations across this country. And they all have sports segments. And every morning they must find news. And I won't be surprised if very soon you become part of the news. They have to find content. Congratulations. It's a position that receives a lot of media attention, and that's why you should be a little cautious in your pronouncements. Now, let me go to the substance. Sports industry. In a place like North America, in 2014, the value of the sports industry was about $60.5 billion United States dollars. And it is projected by Forbes that in 2019, the industry in North America might appreciate to about $73.5 billion United States dollars. Globally, it is estimated that the sports industry is about $1.5 trillion dollars. As if you add the whole world globally, the industry. In Ghana, I cannot give the figures, but a simple question is, sports potentially can be a major contributor to GDP, not just entertainment the way that people tend to see it. What will you do by way of focusing on the development of media rights for the coverage of sports across the country? Gate revenues, that is developing the stadia, making sure that gate revenues makes a contribution. Other sports support services, how would you do what will you do to ensure that we realize the potential of sports as a major source of employment and contributor to GDP? Because this is a manifesto that you have focused on creating jobs, especially for the youth. How would you go about achieving that objective?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I think I've already stated that sports is no longer described as leisure or pleasure, whatever it is. It's a tool for job creation and obviously for economic development, as you did indicate, for GDP growth, yes. And there are studies all over the world in other countries. Unfortunately, in this country, we haven't done much studies on sports and its potential for the growth of the economy. Yesterday, I remember when I met some leaders at me, I tasked them to let us do a study on sports and its contribution to Ghana's GDP. Because when you check in terms of even the remittances from Ghanaian sportsmen and women out there to back home in Ghana, it's so huge. But then no study has been done, so we can't really have the figures to mention. So it's something that we need to do more studies on it. But it's not only that. There are a lot of areas we need to consider to make sport more lucrative. Talk of ambush marketing, for example, which is a disincentive to sports, seriously affecting companies and potential sponsors, those who want to invest in sports. Because when there's an ambush marketing, the person who invests loses. It's a clear example of maybe Blasters win gold and you will see all sorts of congratulations. A company wants to have a media space to advertise its product, but then congratulations, and then you get that media space. For you know, that is ambush marketing, taking undue advantage. Some companies have sponsored the team through all the stages. They have won gold. Now they are back home. Then the company takes advantage. Oh, now let him send congratulatory messages to the team. Then through that, he buys a full-page graphic. Congratulations, Blasters. Meanwhile, he has not contributed much to the success of the team. That is ambush marketing, which happens all the time. Sports merchandising. These are the areas of to look. So sports has a huge potential for the growth of the economy. But we need to protect investors in the area of sports, which something needs to be done. Unfortunately, this act, we try to incorporate some concerns of the industry players, but those concerns are not adequate. As we move along, we'll have some amendments to take care of the concerns of industry players. Very important. Thank you.
Second question is, the Ministry of Youth and Sports gets blamed for focusing too much on the sports aspect and ignoring the youth development aspect. And it's been a serious critique of the ministry, which is founded really by looking at the record of the ministry. Youth development is a multi-sectoral responsibility. Ministry of Education has many of the youth in schools. Ministry of Health deals with issues that also relate to the health of youth, and several other ministries have a role to play. Employment and labor relations, looking at skills development of the youth. Now, I just want your vision of how, as Minister for Youth and Sports, you will want to drive your mandate when it comes to youth development, so that you don't also end up suffering the criticism of having abandoned youth development and focusing entirely on sports.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that's a mistake we all make, and I think that demonstration has even taken place here. If I don't know the topic you're going to give me, but so far it's about sports, and even sports about football, even football Blasters. That is a concern of all of us. Yes, as you know, young people falling within this bracket of childhood and adulthood. That's where we find ourselves, and also by the definition that we have adopted, the definition going by the African Youth Charter definition of those falling between the ages of 15 and 35 years. These are the most economically active segment of the population, the productive segment of the population, and therefore we need to ensure that if the country wants to move forward, whatever it takes to empower them, creating the continuing atmosphere for youth empowerment. Resources are provided to them in terms of quality education, quality leadership skills, ICT development. These are the areas of concern that we need to position our youth. And I believe sincerely that it's up to us to do that. Yes, when you look at our manifesto promise, for example, clearly, we are anchoring our youth agenda in 6 critical areas, namely key ones: quality leadership skills, quality education, ICT development, and also sports development. These are the things our manifesto promise indeed has taken serious study of. And we believe that whatever we do, we need to have structures to develop our youth. And so by our manifesto, we are going to create what we call Youth Development Authority. That will put together under one body. Can you call it one elephant or one umbrella, whichever way you call it, under one body, so that all the scattered youth programs, youth in agriculture is sitting somewhere, yes, it's sitting somewhere, YA is sitting somewhere, all the scattered youth programs must be brought under one body for implementation, track of progress, and also even for reporting. For all you know, other sectors are creating jobs for youth. But do we have the information? Because we don't have one center that coordinates, that monitors all these implementation programs. We are in a limbo situation. So going forward, we are going to create this Youth Development Authority that will bring together all the scattered programs under one body so that the ministry will be in a position to monitor progress, track implementation for the youth. Because we can also have some success stories to tell if we have a unified, harmonized body for youth development. Thank you.
A last question, and I'm also going to be a victim of the critique of focusing too much on the football and the GFA. There's this argument that there's good reason to focus on football because no country really does disciplines as its major concentration. No country. You go to Europe and then you find out that many of them focus on soccer. You go to North America and you see that they focus on basketball, baseball, and you go to India and there is cricket, and South Africa is also focusing on cricket. And so there are those who say, look, you can't spread your tentacles all over the place because you don't have the resources and even the cultural connection between the population and that sport. I tell people, permit me, Mr. Chairman, that the reason why maybe football is so popular is that as children, once you get an old socks and you stuff it with plastic and then tie it, you can start playing football. And yet for tennis, I will need a racket and a court. And so, you know, cost is an issue. Is there a basis for really focusing on football? And if we are to focus on football, you've made several comments about the relationship between Ministry of Youth and Sports and the GFA. I do agree with you that if you look at the Act, they should all come under the National Sports Authority and be dealing with the Sports Authority and not really the ministry. My question is, what level of autonomy do you think that the GFA should enjoy? What level of autonomy do you think they should enjoy?
Well, I think this is a country governed by laws. So the laws are there, and the laws stipulates where you should operate from. That's what you should comply. So for me, we have an act, Sports Act. Clearly, it puts all these bodies under the National Sports Authority. So it's up to us as leaders to empower the Sports Authority to work. That's my understanding. So whether badminton association, volleyball association, taekwondo association, athletics association, judo, whatever it is, weightlifting, you are all under the National Sports Authority. That is by law. So when we respect that, it will help all of us. That for me is my understanding of a law-abiding society.
Nii Lantey.
Thank you. Chairman has been gracious to me for catching your eye. Well, congratulations.
Thank you, my brother.
Daniel Welbeck, the former Arsenal and currently former Manchester United and now Arsenal player, is my direct cousin. His father was a product of academicals when he was in Achimota School. And I recall holding his boots to Stamford Park, now Agbogbush, for training. Today we don't have academicals because this has been a talent grounds to get students who really want to develop their talents in various sports disciplines. And see my uncle growing in that area. Today his son is a great player in England. My question is, how are you going to bring back this academicals concept? We have intercolleges back in the days of Presec, when we have this interco and all that. These are the areas where we pick all these talents in athletics, sports and all that. What are you going to do? Should you be giving this nod to unearth these talents through these academicals and these intercollegiate sports and athletics and all that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, in the past, the inter-course or the inter-school college sports, we had the inter-regional college sports and the national sports festivals were the breeding grounds for unearthing talents for this country. In the past, that's why we're sporting all those talents. We are going to bring back this thing, ensure that the inter-school sports is promoted, inter-regional college sports promoted, and the national sports festivals are promoted. So annually, we are going to have all these three events taking place by the ministry. We are going to sit on that because the talents are out there. We need to hunt for those talents. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Tema has produced a lot of footballers. The last team I played was Afionia United in 1993. We need a modern stadium. Can you promise the good people of Tema that you give us a modern stadium? We need it.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. My honorable colleague, I appreciate and understand his concern for his constituents. So I commend him for asking for something for the people of Tema. And this morning I had a discussion of Honorable Kabu. He also wants one for Upper West. Wow. He even wanted it somewhere, to the location somewhere. But Mr. Chairman, I think we've said something in our manifesto that we still have 5 remaining regions without modern sports stadia. In the 5 remaining regions, they don't have modern sports stadia. Upper East, Upper West, Bonahafo, Eastern, then Volta region. These 5 regions are standing. They don't have modern sports stadia. So our commitment is to ensure that these regions have their own modern sports stadia. Then we look at other community interests. They are also important. But for now, let us make sure that we share it equally amongst the 10 regions. Then we can look at other community sports stadia. But then, if there's an initiative from the district assembly, maybe you get some support somewhere that the ministry will be in a position to assist you. That one, we can do that. But for now, our commitment as a ministry is to make sure that we fulfill this social contract with Ghanaians. Thank you.
Let me get it clear here. One moment, please. That if a community, whether it's a district assembly or the chiefs, start their own project, then the ministry will assist that group. Are you promising that to this committee? Because there's only one community that has built its own park, the Kwajamfis Park, which is being used for the bus was built by AGC, it's public funds, but this is the community of Bekwai built it, so they're only the best in the country. But we need resources. We've been asking the ministry for help for so long. So if you're assuring me here, I want to be on record, that the Bekwai people can be assured that the Ministry of Sports will assist us. We actually have seats standing there, but we want to place them. So I want you.
Mr. Chairman, when by your blessing you approve of my nomination, I'll consider your request. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, my last.
Sorry, did I hear you right?
Last question.
That you consider the request. It's no longer. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, my last question. I want to go by Honorable Erikopoku question on corruption. I happened to witness a third division football match at the Teshi military range. And Mr. Chairman, the officiating, what I witnessed, because the team happens to come from Tema East, through democracy, which I played. And to be surprised, because it was in a military environment, you could see clearly that the officiating was against the particular team. And on research, I happened to question the way it's been done. The understanding I'm having is that sometimes global and national market forces are determining officiating on the field. As an incoming minister, what are you going to do with the Referees Association? Because when it comes to the Middle League, that is where they have their cocoa season. What are you going to do to ensure that there's proper officiating, regardless of the size of the team that is playing? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would engage the GFA, the Professional League Board, the GACA, and the Referees Association. They have their own association. I will engage them on the way forward because it's a matter of concern to all Ghanaians. The game should be fair to all Ghanaians. It should be fair to all the stakeholders, to all players. So I will engage stakeholders and then we'll find a solution to it. Thank you.
Sammy, okay.
I'm most grateful, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Chairman, just a quick anecdote. During your introduction on your CV, you indicated that you brought us gold in the 2013 Under-20 FIFA World Cup. For the records, you know, this is a house of records. France won that World Cup. We won the 2009 one. So I just thought that I'd bring that to your attention. I mean, for the records. Ghana did not win in 2013.
It was 2009 in Egypt.
Yeah. So that's just for the records. My first question will be on a matter that you have been passionate about and you have been very consistent even before this committee. Your dislike for the reference to other sporting disciplines as lesser known sports. But going through your record in Parliament, I have here the 15 December 2010 Hansard. You went beyond just criticizing that, and you had a certain expectation. And Mr. Chairman, if I can quote from column 3402 of the 15 December 2010 Hansard, and I must say that you were a very vocal ranking member. I do admire how vocal and diligent you were in your work. And as a young man, I really, really admire.
Can you please proceed
what
to your
you have
question?
done so
far.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You said, and I quote, Mr. Speaker, sports today is a business enterprise. It is a serious business enterprise that offers employment and job opportunities to numerous people. So it is important that we place much attention on other sporting activities. I hope henceforth we should get rid of the words lesser-known sports and make sure that we provide equal attention to all the sporting activities. This is because what we call lesser-known sports in other places, they are major sporting events. Rugby is held in high esteem in South Africa and other places. Some of these words we use to describe other sporting activities indeed do not help us in our cause. So let us label all of them as sporting activities, demanding equal attention and equal resources, unquote. Equal attention and equal resources. That was the demand you made to the then Sports Minister, Honorable Ekia Senadamswa, who appeared before the House. I want to know from you, the first budget of the Ministry of Youth and Sports will be part of the Minister of Finance budget, which will come before this House in March. Should we expect that you will, in that budget, be given equal resources to all the sporting disciplines in Ghana? You emphasize here equal attention and equal resources. Should we expect that from you in your first budget?
Chairman, thank you. Chairman, that is a very good research done by Honorable Samuel Okudzeto. One time a very good friend, but when he was power for 8 years, he abandoned me. A very good friend.
Honorable Asiamah, you are a nominee here. Can you answer the question?
Mr. Chairman, yes, very important that, as I did indicate the other time, that sporting disciplines must be treated equally. Very important. And I'm happy I came here and I never contradicted what I said some years back. Yes, I've made this point clear here. So I've been consistent on that issue. The Chairman, a very key point is equal resources. Yeah, equal resources. That is why I've, even before coming here and as the President's representative to the ministry, I've asked that we get a report on the concentration of sports in this country in terms of its penetration. Mr. Chairman, the challenge we have is that we have 40 sporting disciplines, and all these disciplines have their international association affiliation and they have national tournaments. So if the minister is very careful, Mr. Chairman, we have a sporting discipline in this country that comprises the father and children, two, forming one national association. Pinter. And this body wants support from government to travel for international tournament. So what I'm doing is that we want to have all associations presence in all the regions so they can qualify for support. So that is how I'm addressing this equality, whatever it is. So that I'm going to ensure that, Mr. Chairman, an association that gets support from the ministry must have presence in at least 2/3 of the region. That for me is my answer. We need to make sure that we also strengthen grassroots sports so it doesn't become sporting discipline that is only Accra based. That is it. So I've tasked the ministry to ensure that we get this report and ensure that the structures are well built, that they can get the support that they need.
Oh, Mr. Chairman, if they do their, you were demanding equal resources. That is the question. Equal resources, your own words.
Equal resources must have certain procedure. And if they meet the criteria, they have the equal resources. It's a criteria we put in place. Understand? We put in place so that if you qualify with the criteria, then you get the support. That's it.
Mr. Chairman, I can see that time changes. Mr. Chairman, my second question will be from the same Hansard, this time column 3400. There's a view out there that we need to expect improved accountability from the Ghana Football Association. That we have changed coaches, we have changed sports ministers, governments have changed, but it's the same people at the helm doing the same thing, and we are not getting the results. As we speak to you now, we are still licking our wounds. 35 years, we have not been able to lift the African Cup. But from all the checks I have done, you appear to be a staunch defender of the GFA. I'm surprised that today you were even suggesting that they should be working through the Sports Authority. But you have been their chief advocate. Here you said, Mr. Chairman, you said, Mr. Speaker, I would also want to continue by saying that this current crop of GFA executives have over the years done a lot for Ghana's football. For the first time of Ghana's participation in the World Cup, this same crop of people took us there, and they were included in those in South Africa. So in my opinion, the GFA needs to be commended, especially by the ministry, and not to be lambasted and attacked, quote and unquote. This was 15 December 2010. My question is, can the people of this country expect you to be just a fair, neutral arbiter and to ensure that the Ghana Football Association meets the expectation of the people? The sporting clubs belong to the people, belongs to the countries, for all of us. It should not be hijacked by any group of people. Can we expect you to be fair and ensure high standards from the GFA in the management of football in our country, seeing that your record rather shows that you shift towards the GFA in manners that I'm a bit uncomfortable with?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman, my attitude has been that a leader must lead. I'm not in a position to be at banter with associations under me. We can be in disagreement. That's okay. We can disagree on policy, on issues. But for me to be fighting publicly with an agency under me, I wouldn't do that. If there's anything, there must be table discussion, conference, dialogue, negotiation, persuasion. That's what I believe in. That is what I believe in. Mr. Chairman, we all have achievements and failures. He spoke about GFA. Yeah, GFA. As an institution, they have their achievements and their failures. Nobody can deny the fact that Kwesi Nyantakyi has done something for Ghana football. Nobody. For the first time under his leadership, we're able to qualify for the World Cup. That is a statement of fact, which I said it. Was I lying? 3 times under his leadership, we've been to the World Cup. Consistent. So that one, you can never write it away from him. That is achievement, it's a legacy. But Mr. Chairman, there are other failures. And I have pointed out, Mr. Chairman, our domestic league is suffering. Yes, our league is suffering. And our job, see, we are getting certain fundamentals wrong. We need to develop our league, domestic league. Make sure it becomes attractive. So, going forward, and I'm going to engage the GFA, we must have local content in the selection of players to the national teams. Local content in the selection of players to the national teams. Because
I wanted to ask you a question relating to GFA. GFA, it is an association. Is that right? And that as association, they are regulated by the company's code, right? What is the role of government in that respect?
Mr. Chairman, as you did indicate, they have an association, have international affiliation, they have their rules and regulations. They have their own electoral body of electing their leaders, very independent. So now, no government can interfere in the affairs of GFA. No, it can never happen. It is clear. You do that, you risk being sanctioned. And some people say, oh, but what about sanctions? But no democratic serious government we don't have that one as achievements. That I came to power, and I used fiat, I used buga buga, and we're banned. No serious government will do that. That becomes one of your major failures as government. So please, the GFA, they have own rules and regulations. But then, so far as they live within Ghana, as I said, they are under the National Sports Authority. That was true. So please, we also said the fact that they are in Ghana, and therefore they must respect the laws of the country. Mr. Chairman, there are 3 or 4 former ministers here. They want you to explain what you mean by buga buga. Unlawful and illegal acts to get your way through. That is it.
Mr. Chairman, my last question.
I was entering to this area of the way forward. We did talk about the way forward for GFA. Mr. Chairman, as I did indicate, to make the local league attractive, there are certain conditions that we need to achieve or obtain. Retention of players is important. How do we retain players? Because the leagues will become, or the league will become attractive when we have stars, local stars. The stars will attract people to go to the various stadia. So in so doing, you can reach the local league. But what I've observed is that, look at what happened. We went to AFCON without a single local player. So therefore, all the attention is to play to satisfy the foreign contractor, the foreign investor, so that they are sold outside. They are only playing to please foreigners, not our local consumption. So we must have local content in the selection of players to the national teams. There must be a quota for our local league players so that they can also stay and save for us. That's going forward. I'm going to engage the GFA. So we have that policy in place so that whichever coach that comes, you are bound to comply with the local law. That is our law. We are telling that we have 23 players, pick 6 from the local league. That becomes the law. So that they comply. But if you don't do that, the local league will continue to die. And also the issue of sponsorship. Mr. Chairman, I'm also going to engage the GFA to ensure that, as we speak now, there are about 2-3 regions that do not have premiership clubs. They're not playing. This point was amply made by Honorable E.T. Mensah some time ago. We need to revisit that point. That at least every region must have a club playing. Some people talk of undermining competition. No, it's not undermining competition. The rules can take care of it. The rules can take care of it. So that, because the sponsorship challenge is that those companies want visibility. They want to be felt, seen in all the regions. But if you go to Koforidua, as we speak now, in Eastern region, they don't have a club. Volta region doesn't have a club. So if the companies cannot penetrate in these regions, what becomes the incentive for them to sponsor the league? So these are the areas we are looking at. I'm going to engage with the GFA, dialogue with them, as I did in Gabon, to slash down the bonus to 50%. I'm going to ensure that I engage GFA to get these policies in place so that our domestic league will improve. Thank you.
Your last question. But Honorable Asiamah, I would urge you to be concise. You know you have so much information, but just give us only enough for us to make up our mind, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It gladdens my heart that the nominee...
Honorable Kujetu, I understand you've done 3.
No, this is the second one. No, I'm now going
2.
to my third question.
All right,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It gladdens my heart that the nominee agrees with most Ghanaians that there are some things that have to change with the management of Ghana football, and I'm really impressed with that portion of your answer. My last question is more or less a follow-up from an earlier response you gave to the question on corruption. You were asking for specifics, and that you appeared quite hazy and unclear that there's corruption in sports in Ghana. I hold in my hands an interview you granted to Peace FM on Peace FM Online, 27th March 2013, under the caption, "Excessive Corruption in Sports Ministry. Prosecute Culprits. Honorable Isaac Asiamah." That is the caption. A member of the Sports Committee and minority spokesperson on sports in Parliament, Honorable Isaac Asiamah, is calling on the Mahama-led administration to impeach members of the Sports Ministry who were named for embezzling funds during the All Africa Games in Maputo. And it continues to say, in another paragraph, he, however, said, if the president says he is against corruption, then these are some of the things he, the president, must fight against. The sports minister himself has said it's a managerial incompetence issue that is causing all these lapses. There is corruption at the ministry, and someone must be queried, unquote. These are your exact words, that there is excessive corruption at the sports ministry. When should Ghanaians expect you to root out this corruption, recommend people for prosecution by the Attorney General's Department, and bring an end to what you describe as excessive corruption at the sports ministry?
Mr. Chairman, thank you, but use the word impeach. That will not be my language or my word in that expression, in that sentence that you, so maybe that is misrepresentation somewhere. Mr. Chairman, I'm not here to deny the fact that as ranking member, I have made several statements of fact. Statements of facts, they are there. You mentioned Maputo, for example. That's why I was asking the honourable member to be specific. He couldn't be specific. I was asking to be specific so I would discuss that issue, challenge him. He couldn't be forthright on the issue. So please, if you have mentioned Maputo, yes, I did indicate that. I even gave a copy of that damning report to Mr. Speaker. Speaker said, they said this is damning. That's the word he used. So that's it. Specifically, Maputo was so scandalous, the report is there. So it's there. So in fact, as soon as I'm confirmed, I will seek opinion from government's legal advisor, Attorney General, on what to do in terms of prosecution. He's in charge. So that's the point. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, he hasn't indicated if he stands by his claim that there's excessive corruption at the sports ministry.
His answer is enough. We all heard him. Now we are honourable members. I'll do one each, and then we are being asked to come to the chamber. So I'll do Obiamoa and Ahi, and then we.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congrats, Honorable Asiamah. Honorable Asiamah.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my senior.
We've been advised not to use the word Mugabe, but he's a Mugabe of sports. He's been chairman of the Committee on Sports. He's been a ranking member. And Honorable Asiamah has enough experience when it comes to sports. We are praying that he will succeed, and we will all help him to succeed. Now, there's one major issue that I want you to address. And indeed, for the first time, I may ask for assurance from this committee. If you look at the previous budgets, I was checking with the last budget. I picked various institutions: health, gender, youth and sports, NCC, chieftaincy, employment. Indeed, if you look at what was allocated to youth and sports, it's only probably chieftaincy which was lower than what was allocated to sports. For instance, health, 3.38 billion. Gender, 49.5 million. NCC, 32.55 million. Employment, 47.9 million. Youth and sports, 22.56 million. That's very low. Now, look at our constitution. If you look at all that has been said here, most important thing is funding. If you talk about facilities, investment, training, everything, even the stadium I want to build, everything is funding. Now, if you look at our manifesto, MPP manifesto, page 166, under H, it says, encouraging the private sector to provide funding for sports through the establishment of incentive packages, as well as creating a sports fund to support the financing of sports. We have the EDF, we have Tourism Fund, we have Waste Fund, we have GIFET Fund, we have GIFET, we have GET Fund, Health Fund. Almost every sector.
Asiamah, please go to the question.
Yes, I'm building a foundation. Almost every sector has funding. Thankfully, the MPP has provided in the manifesto that we set up a sports fund. Can you assure this committee that within a reasonable time, you would convince Cabinet to amend the Sports Act so that we have a sports fund that will cater for all the issues associated with lack of funding, lack of investment, and everything?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I thank my senior Honorable Asiamah for those kind words. He's one of the most successful sports ministers this country has ever produced. One of the most successful deputy sports ministers. Let me put that way. Thank you, Honorable Asiamah. Yeah, I think the major challenge facing sports in this country is lack of investment in sports, as has been amply demonstrated by my senior colleague here. Mr. Chairman, that's the more reason why this manifesto has identified the creation of a sports fund to address the challenges confronting sports in general. So we are going to leave our manifesto pledge to ensure that the sports fund becomes fruition, it comes to reality. So we will do that. As you know, we have a 4-year mandate. So definitely the sports fund will be created within this 4-year mandate. Thank you, Honorable Asiamah.
Chairman, I have a follow-up. You intend to create a sports fund. Will it be an earmark fund? How will it be funded? What is your ideas on the funding? On the
sources, we've discussed about the sources. Sports lottery, for example, we are looking at it. Sports betting is there, we are looking at it. And see, sometimes, the communication service, for example, 80% now is into YE. The 10% or the 20% that is left, we are doing some lobbying on that. That some portion of it can be brought to support you, because that is for youth-related programs, the communication service does. And sports mainly is for young men and women. So that's justifiable if we should make a case for part of it to be brought to this fund. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Asiamah, I have here a response to the State of the Nation address that you delivered on 19 February 2009, when the late President Mills delivered his State of the Nation address. And I remember very well that you made a point that Ghana, as of 2009, that is when the MPP had left office, had positions on the International Hockey Federation, had a position on CAF, position on the Confederation of African Athletics, the Commonwealth Advisory Board on Sports, the UN International Working Group for Sports and Development, the African Boxing Federation, and indeed was the sitting AU chairman of Ministers of Sports, which were all secured under President Kufuor. Now, how are you going to encourage members of international bodies to be able to go for positions on these international bodies so that they will use these positions to help Ghana sports?
Thank you, Honorable Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Honorable Asiamah, thank you. And you were instrumental in getting us all these international bodies. I remember, because then as chairman, I know the role you played. And then I think it even continued for some time after we had left power in 2009. But, Honorable Asiamah, you see, the greatest challenge has been the attrition rate at the ministry. You understand? The ministers, the survival of ministers. So, lack of continuity has affected our international standing. That's the problem. We have many affiliations bodies, but when ministers are changed, then there's a problem. I remember Honorable Asiamah, for example, was pursuing. I remember there was a time she had addressed a very wonderful conference outside. She did so well at that conference. Honorable Asiamah, so she came in a month or so, she was reshuffled. So that lack of continuity of ministers at the ministry has affected our international pedigree and standing. But we need to really look at it. Maybe. So pray I should stay long. I'll revive all those things. Thank you.
The last one will go to Zamziahi, and then I'll come to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the nominee is my friend, and he's adding very good friend.
Very good friend.
Very
yes,
good
very
friend.
good friend.
And we came to Parliament the same year, so I'm happy for you. Mr. Chairman, the nominee said that MPP government will be transparent in dealing with Ghanaians. And he had a chance to represent His Excellency the President in Gabon in the just ended AFCON committee tournament. Can you tell us how much it costs us to participate in the tournament?
Mr. Chairman, the budget for the tournament is in two phases: the pre-tournament phase and the tournament itself. As I sit here, Mr. Chairman, I'm yet to be confirmed to become a full minister. So when I'm confirmed,
Chairman, are you half minister?
Now I'm yet to be confirmed as a minister. So that's it.
Chairman, what is full and half in this business?
Mr. Chairman,
we are not aware of any half minister. So, Chairman, may the nominee expound that word and use what is appropriate.
Yeah, just that I was trying to make a point that I'm the president's representative, but I don't have the mandate to answer questions now. But when you give the mandate to answer questions, I'll ask my colleague to file appropriately the question on income and expenditure for AFCON 2017. I'll come and answer the question.
Honorable, please ask
another question. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, the nominee is not supposed to answer such questions, but he said he was able to negotiate and get 50% down. I mean, in the bonuses paid to the blasters.
Yeah. That's percentage, not actual number.
Huh? Oh, you should answer it.
No. Hello. Order. The nominee has answered the question. If you're not satisfied, you can follow it up, but it will continue.
Chairman, I believe that you must accommodate the Honorable Samson Ahi. I'm holding with me here the CV of the nominee, and he indicated in his CV that he was President Representative AFCON 2017 Gabon. For that matter, this matter is within his knowledge, having represented the President in Gabon. And therefore, if he wants to share some, but it's within his knowledge, it is in his CV. You represented the President, so welcome back. One details of what you went to do, what did you supervise, which naturally and necessarily, Mr. Chairman, would have included supervising some expenditure. So, Chairman, allow the question and allow the nominee to
respond. The question was allowed. He gave an answer. If you're not satisfied, follow up, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this morning I heard it from the grapevine that we spent close to $25 million. Yes, in order to participate in just this tournament. That's why I wanted to give him the opportunity.
Well, if you have a specific that, as for grapevine speculation, we do not work with it here. Thank you.
So he should confirm in the spirit of transparency.
Mr. Chairman, I think we will revisit that issue.
The Chairman, the Honorable Samson Ahi, do you want to ask the nominee how much you spent in Gabon? Okay, so ask him.
You're out of order. You're out of order.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman,
The coefficient.
it has been exhibited here that even though the ministry we are dealing with now is Ministry of Youth and Sports, but even at this table, about 80% of our questions have been centered on sports and football. I want to ask my friend. So, Madame Fumpolier.
You're out of order.
He is out of order. The nominee is out of order.
To ask my friend to tell us 3 specific things he will do to support the youth in his ministry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think skills development is my number one priority, particularly for the unskilled youth. Greatest challenge, go out there, the unskilled youth, they're all over in millions. So we need to tackle that issue through the National Youth Authority. We have this leadership skills and training centers. They are 11 in number. We are going to strengthen those centers to provide skill training for the unskilled youth, very important, in trades and vocations like masonry, carpentry, catering, all over. These are simple things we can do to uplift the living conditions of our people so that if they are employed, they can be meaningful in society. Also about leadership, very important. I believe that leadership training should be the cornerstone of whatever we do. We are passing out of schools, coming out, but that culture of leadership should be imbibed in us. People should know how to lead. So getting leadership, transformation leaders across the country is what we need. Leadership from the home, from schools, from whichever, the churches, everything. We must have leaders who are prepared to lead this country, building in a high sense of patriotism and volunteerism among our youth. Is something that is missing. We need to bring on board. And lastly, we are going to ensure that jobs are created for the teeming, unemployed Ghanaian youth.
Chairman, since the nominee himself have on top of a roof jobs, how will you create those jobs? Share with us how you intend to create those jobs.
Job creation is a function of many factors, particularly providing the congenial atmosphere. And my tradition is to facilitate the private sector to grow, so that when they grow, they will be able to create jobs for people. So the private sector becomes our cornerstone. Support them, give them incentives, so that they will be positioned well to create jobs for young people. Thank you.
Honorable Samson, was that your last?
Yes.
Was that your last question?
The second.
The first one.
No, Honorable Ahi, I think you've exhausted your time.
No.
Second. It's level 1.
Okay, I'll allow one more question.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's my legitimate question. Mr. Chairman, but we are friends. Mr. Chairman, the nominee this morning commended the immediate past Minister for Youth and Sports, Nii Lantey Vanderpuye. And That is commendable. Mr. Chairman, on the 18th of October 2016, the nominee is quoted to have said, Nii Lantey lacks leadership qualities. Number 2, 24th August, Nii Lantey doesn't understand leadership. Mr. Chairman, what informed the nominee to arrive at this description of the then Minister for Youth and Sports? And can he tell us the leadership qualities that he possesses that he is going to use to administer affairs in the Youth and Sports Ministry? Thank you.
Honorable Ahi, Honorable Sami Okujeto similarly asked, but he gave us where he was getting the information from, and we allowed it. But you are giving us things that he's alleged to have said. If you can give us where he said those things, and then we can go ahead. Just give the source, and then he can answer it. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, on the 18th of October, he said this on Atinka Sports program. Atinka Sports. And then on the 24th one, GhanaSoccerNet.com.
Honorable nominee, you can answer the question.
Mr. Chairman, I would want to recount the other things my colleague maybe has said about me. It's not necessary. It's part of leadership and maturity to tell and to let your colleague know that if certain things are offensive and he's offended, for me, as a mature leader, I'll say, I'm sorry to Honorable Nii Lantey Vanderpuye. Let's move on. That's what I can say. Because there were issues that brought about all these issues. But for now, I'm saying to my colleague, Honorable Nii Lantey, that if he feels offended, I'm sorry to him. Because, you see, he has been a minister of youth and sports. I will need his support to move forward. Likewise, other former ministers. So that is what we wanted to move forward. So thank you.
All right. Now we'll come to the leadership. We'll come to leadership, please.
Chairman, I want to yield the first part to the Honorable Nii Lantey so that I'll have a last bite, which will be undermining who?
Please speak.
What about it? Chairman, I'm saying that kindly allow the Honorable Nii Lantey. He knows the subject matter better than I do. And he's just walking out of the corridor, providing now what has been appreciated as leadership at the Ministry of Youth and Sports. So, Chairman, if you accommodate the Honorable Nii Lantey to start, I will help him to conclude, Chairman.
I understand that not the leader ranking discussed with me that he will yield his position to Honorable Nii Lantey, and I agreed, so I will. Okay, but you start from Deputy Ranking, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I want to ask my colleague whether when he became the present representative, he was given briefing at the ministry.
Briefing is ongoing. It's not ended. It's ongoing.
No, all I wanted to be sure whether they gave a briefing.
It's ongoing. So I have been briefed and I will continue to be briefed.
Oh, you've been briefed. In your earlier answer to your question, you said you were able to negotiate to get the bonus halved. Was that correct?
Yeah.
So,
yes, Mr. Chairman.
Did I hear you say that it was 5,000 that was paid?
I think the bonus structure is in categories, the bonus structure. And that was what I went to negotiate with the playing body. And of course...
So you paid, you managed to get them to accept 5,000?
5,000. A slash down 50% from 10,000 to 5,000. Yes.
I just wanted to be sure of that. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, did any other payment follow? Did you pay any other thing apart from the 5,000 that you paid?
When you say another thing, what do you mean?
Mr. Chairman, I said, did you pay any other thing? Maybe it might have even been in kind. Did you pay any additional money?
No, please.
Did you pay any additional money?
No.
Did you pay qualification bonus?
What we paid was for the stage, the group stage. The group stage. When you qualify from the group stage, that's the 5,000 to the next stage. So the group stage, that's what we paid.
I just asking. You said that you managed to get the winning bonus slashed by 50. So you paid 5,000 for the winning bonus. And I'm asking, I also asked whether you paid any other thing. You said no. And I'm asking, did you pay qualification bonus?
Can you explain your qualification bonus to me?
Well, when they qualify for the AFCON, did you pay them any money for qualifying for the AFCON?
Is it appearance fee or whatever it is? There's nothing like that.
I'm only asking, did you pay, after they qualify for the AFCON, did you pay them any money? Yes or no?
Let us be clear with this. They qualified last year also. They qualified last year. Last year around June. Last year around June, you were in government.
If the nominee will take his time.
Nominee, woman, do you have any information whether in June or whether they were paid anything?
No, please.
That's why I asked whether you were briefed. I said that you've been briefed and the briefing continues. So you said you are not in the known. When they qualify from the group stages, were they paid any money?
That is the group stage in Gabon.
Well, we are talking about Gabon.
But others were referring to last year. The group stage, yes, that is the 5,000 qualification bonus.
So are you saying that, from what you are saying, you said you managed to get the bonus slash winning bonus, and was it per match? Or it is when they qualify from one stage to another that you pay that?
At that stage, we call it qualification bonus to the next stage. At that stage, when you play 3 matches and win, you see, the structure is such that if you play one and if you qualify to the next stage, you're entitled to the bonus. But and if you play 2 and you qualify to the next stage, you're entitled to it. But even if you play 2 and you don't qualify to the next stage, you don't earn anything. So it's a qualification bonus to the next stage.
So was that different from the winning bonus you paid, or it was the same?
Same. The structure is that when you play one and you win, we don't pay you until it's done. The group stage is done. Then we pay you. In previous tournaments, in the one that was said in Equatorial Guinea, for example, that group stage, each was paid per match 10,000. The time 3 was 30,000. That was what was slashed down to 15,000 per the group stage for the 3 matches.
Okay, so in actual sense, you didn't pay them 5,000 for as a winning bonus for the whole matches they played, but each match you paid 5,000.
Each match, when they finish for the group stage, when you play a match, we don't pay per match. After when you are finished, then you put them together. So it's possible you play a win one and you don't qualify, you don't pay anything.
So after winning for the what do you call
if you draw 3 times and you don't qualify to the next stage, nothing for you.
After qualifying to get to the knockout stage, you pay them 15,000.
Yes, to the quarter-final stage. That is the knockout quarter-final stage. We pay them 15,000 instead of 30,000.
Did they win the match with Egypt?
No, please.
Well, you just said that you were paying for every match that they won, but you pay it after they qualify to the knockout stage. So I'm asking whether, because you said 15,000, and I knew that they played 3 matches.
Okay. You know, before Egypt match, they had already qualified. They had played 2 and they had won both. So they had already qualified to the next stage. So they were entitled to that amount.
Chairman, that was what I was helping my colleague to segregate the issue. Were they being paid for qualifying to the next stage or per match? And he said per match. And I said that so because of that, they paid 3, and instead of 30, they paid 15. And I asked whether they won with Egypt. Because they didn't win with Egypt, even though they qualified. So were the payment for the qualifying to the next stage or per match?
No, Honorable Muntaka, the confusion started from when you said that when they qualified for Gabon, they do pay. That was where the confusion started from.
But when they were, maybe you didn't understand what I was saying, and I thought that you would have just asked for clarification because I was building up, and you know that, like we all said, governance is continuous. So that was as I started by, were you briefed? You said, oh, the briefing was done, but you continue to receive briefing. Yes, and I asked whether when they qualified for AFCON was paid. You said you were not sure because you were not there, and I accepted that. And I said that at the group stages, you managed to negotiate per match from 10,000 to 5,000, and you said yes. And I said, so when they then group finish qualifying to the knockout stage, did you pay them any amount? Then you said that you didn't pay them until when they finished all the 3 matches and qualified. Then you gave them 15,000. I'm only saying what you said. Is that the understanding?
Honorable Muntaka, let's get this thing.
Addressing the chairman.
Honorable Chairman, let's get this straight. When we go to competition, there are stages. Call them stages. The group stage is when you play all the 3 matches. That's the group stage. Then the next one is the quarterfinal. Then from quarterfinal to semi-final. At each of these stages, you pay a bonus. That's the point. So I can say here that we paid bonus twice to the players. Group stage qualification and quarterfinal. Twice payment. That is so. That's
at the quarterfinal, how much did you pay?
The quarterfinal stage was 12,000. So it was brought to 6,000. I think they are in categories, so they are there.
No, I'm only asking because you said that after the qualification you gave them 15, and then at the quarterfinal you gave them 6,000. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it was meant. Let me. The quarterfinal stage, the group stage was, as I said, for the 3 matches played, that constitutes the group stage. And
that's they paid them 15,000.
15,000.
And then when they got to the knockout stage, the first knockout, that's the quarterfinal. You said you paid them 6,000 or 12,000.
Yes, that is half of the amount. Slide down half of the amount is 12,000.
So you gave them 12,000 or 6,000?
We gave them 6,000.
Oh, okay.
The full amount is 12,000. Slide of 50% is 6,000.
Okay.
So we paid twice.
Okay.
That is the
so the 15 and the 6. That's all the money you paid.
That's for the bonus. That's all we have paid. Bonus.
Remember, I asked you whether any other payment was done, and you said no. So apart from the 15 and the 6,000, you've not paid them any other money.
Please listen to me. Players are entitled to the chairman entitled to per diem. That's per diem. When they go, they get per diem. That is it. And yeah, and the bonus, yes. So the per diem is paid daily. The per diem is paid daily. That's one.
How much is the per diem?
Per diem, I can't say it often, but they are paid per diem. That is the daily payment per diem. But the bonus is per match issue.
Oh, okay. So the understanding is that after the bonus, all other things that was entitled them as before was also paid.
Other things entitled them
as
like per diem was
also paid.
Yes.
Okay.
So per diem is the day that you end your stay there. It's a daily thing. So when you leave, you don't pay per diem any longer.
Okay.
The chairman, if they want full exposure, it's there. The minister they will compare the report. That's why I said that. As I said that, I'm ready.
Just answer him. I'm sure if or when we clear you will get the opportunity to report to the House.
To report to the House. Yes.
So, colleague, don't worry. We are just asking the question that you can provide. Those that you can't, you obviously cannot be faulted, but it can be demanded later. I just want to have your take on this. Do you think that, looking at our federations, do you think that the continuous financing of the federation is the best, or rather government should just give them his support and allow the federation to run?
What do you mean by federations? The associations, there are 40 disciplines you're talking about?
Yes, I'm talking about the associations.
So what you will do is provide support to them. I mean, sometimes they also have their association support, international support that sometimes they receive. So what we do at the ministry is to provide some support to the rest of the associations.
Is this support we give them or we finance? Because when they are traveling, they try to bring their details for you to their budget, like GFA will bring their budget from camping, hotel, and other things. I'm only asking, whether in your view, because you've been chairman, you've been ranking, so you've stayed around the ministry and its activities for some time, whether in your thinking, government continuous financing and government just giving a support to them, which one do you think we should be looking at as a country?
We can't go by full financing. It's not possible. There are 40 disciplines and it's difficult to finance them fully. What we do is to provide support to them. That one, I think government would continue to do, but full finance of the associations is not possible. As I said, sometimes they also get some of the components, but they're coming from their international bodies.
Are you aware that Sports Act, we currently have a Sports Act?
I've spoken to it.
And the funding there, you know, we have a sports fund, and
we don't have a sports fund yet.
We didn't propose any.
In this act, there's no provision for sports fund.
You earlier talked about sports fund. You said, as your manifesto, MPP manifesto, you established one, and you said that some of the funding you'll be looking at it from betting and sports lotto. Will you say that this will be adequate, knowing the enormous financial requirement at the ministry?
So let me make this point clear. The sports fund I made reference to was in our party's manifesto and not in the Sports Act.
No,
the Sports Act didn't make provision for any sports fund. Yes, we have numerous challenges confronting sports in this country. What we intend doing is an attempt to resolve some of these challenges. That is why we are introducing a sports fund that will be able to address many of these challenges. That is the point. In terms of sports infrastructure maintenance, for example. Now, maintenance is a huge challenge. Go to the stadium that we have built. We need money to maintain them. So these are some of the reasons why we've introduced a sports fund, so that we can have some dedicated source of funding for sports development, infrastructure development, sports infrastructure maintenance.
Just ask this last question. Earlier in your answer, and many of the nominees that came talked about private participation. In your earlier answer to how you create jobs, you say you support the private, but you encourage private participation and incentives. What specific things will you do? Because when you say we support the private sector to create the job, we'll give them incentive, what are you really looking at? You didn't get my question. I'm saying that in an earlier answer about how you are going to create jobs, when you said jobs, and then you were asked, how are you going to do that? Then you said that, through private participation and then support to the private sector incentives. So I said, what specific things are you going to do when you talk about the incentive? What specific incentives? When you talk about the support to the private sector, what kind of support do you think you will give to the private sector that will enable them create the jobs for you?
We have tax incentives, for example. That is one area we can look at. We can also look at tax credits. These are the areas we can look at to support the private sector.
So when you say tax, yes, I'm just following up on this. When you say tax incentive, are you saying, for example, if somebody employed, for every 50 youth you employ, government is going to reduce your tax from, say, the current 25 to 20? I just wanted to hear something that we can hold on.
Yeah, we are looking at even companies that are ready to employ fresh graduates, for example, after school. That there should be some incentives for those companies to be able to employ fresh graduates.
Anyway, Chairman, thank you very much.
Okay, by a special request of the Minority Leader, Nii Lantey Vanderpuye.
Thank you very much, Chairman, and thank you very much, Minority Leader, for giving me this opportunity. First, let me congratulate my brother, Isaac Asiamah. Isaac Asiamah for the appointment. And your apology this morning is taken in good faith. You can be assured of my support. I will be a good citizen and not a spectator. My first question has to do with something that is to all of us at heart. Honorable Eric Opoku started from that angle. FIFA has recently embarked upon an, let me say, aggressive structural and administrative reforms, urging national associations within 6 months to be showing cause that these reforms are being embarked upon within their national associations. How are you going to ensure that the Ghana Football Association adhere to this FIFA regulation?
Well, that is an association internationally, so they have their sanction regime. So failure to comply with it, you'll be sanctioned. That's the fact.
Will you wait for Ghana to be sanctioned or within your own? Because you have mentioned the fact that you will make sure that your effective monitoring and evaluation system in the ministry will work. So if any federation is not embarking upon the reforms, will you ensure that they embark upon it?
FIFA has its own monitoring and evaluation system. So if after going through all these things, you will still fail to comply with their regulations, their reforms, obviously, it's up to FIFA to do it and not government to do it. It's up to FIFA. Yes.
Mr. Nominee, so as a minister, these reforms are not being embarked upon in your national association. You wait and call on FIFA or FIFA to come in. You will not, on your own, make sure that these reforms are adhered to.
You did indicate that if they fail to comply with the reforms, I'm saying if they fail, the sanction regime is there. By that meaning, the ministry will not also engage GFA. You see, I think the issue is that is about providing the oversight. So obviously, the National Sports Authority would ensure that those federations under them, under the Sports Authority, would have to meet their timelines and their deadlines and those. That would be done by the National Sports Authority. So if failure to do so, they are sanctioned, then that is it.
Second, let me ask you this. I don't want us to drag on this issue. You mentioned that you're going to consult with the Attorney General's Department to deal with the issue of the Maputo report. Are you going to do the same with the Jamefe white paper?
Well, the Attorney General is the government's principal legal advisor. So all matters of legality or prosecution are referred to the Attorney General's office. That is the legal position.
How soon can you assure all of us and sports lovers in this country that these two reports and the subsequent white papers would be given the attention under your ministry?
Not only the Jamefe, the Maputo, Brazil World Cup fiasco will also be dealt with. There's a report on that will also be dealt with by the Attorney General. So there are reports there.
Brazil is Jamefe.
Yes. And that report will be dealt with, yes.
The issue of funding for sports has become a very difficult issue in view of the limited budgetary allocation to the ministry. You have mentioned here that some federations get outside funding, outside the remit of the ministry. Some federations have sponsorship deals. In the spirit of transparency and accountability, would you advocate and insist that the Ministry of Youth and Sports, representing government, is privy to all these sponsorship deals, like the Puma deal, like the GMPC deal, and the rest that federations engage in?
Well, I don't know whether you were here when I did make that point. It's in the act now that all monies received by way of sponsorship, gifts, and other benefits for national teams are properly accounted for?
As a minister, I want your emphasis.
That is the point. So we have a body properly constituted, properly created by Parliament of Ghana to do with it, and that body is the National Sports Authority. And I will provide that supervision and monitoring to ensure that it is done.
Thank you very much. Oh no, I've asked 3. I was doing 5.
Mr. Chairman, just on the latter note, I wish my colleague to be, because he made reference to the Nii, and also he should address it before he leaves here.
Honorable, will not be directed on what questions to ask you. If you graciously give power to them, he'll come and sit here, then he'll ask.
What do you think are the major problems besetting youth development in Ghana?
For me, lack of skills and training, and lack of jobs. Yes. Maybe the last one will be what I consider lack of mentoring for our youth. They need mentorship. People like you and I need to mentor them, give them the motivation, the inspiration that they need to grow. They need to inspire them.
Finally, which budget did your ministry? Which budget did your ministry, which you are representing the president today, approve for AFCON 2017? Which budget? Is it the one which was approved by your predecessor, or the one which was reviewed by your transitional team?
Chairman, again,
and how much?
It is a golden opportunity for me to explain what we met from the previous government. The documents are here. When we came to power, not even when we came to power, during the transition, first meeting I chaired, or we co-chaired, myself and Honorable Nii Lantey. We asked for budget for AFCON. He told us he was going to bring it. Up to now, he hasn't brought it to the transition team. Mr. Chairman, what I had came from the chief director. So the first one he brought, I made him to sign. It's here. Information copy submitted by the chief director. So 4th January, we are not taking power. 4th January, we are not in power. And this is the budget. This one was $3.9 million for AFCON. And please, the record is here. I've kept all the records, please.
Honorable Asiamah, you appear to be agitated.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, the record is here. I received this one from the chief director. The bonus structure is here. For that one, Mr. Chairman, and it's important. Somebody said something that they had slashed it to 8,000. Chairman, what I received, I inherited. 4th of January 2017 is here. Bonus structure, preliminaries, that's the qualification bonus, $10,000 per match. So that is the stage, the qualification stage. That would have meant $30,000 is here. Then quarterfinal, 23 players, $10,000. This document signed by the chief director. Semi-finals, $12,000. Third place, $12,000. Finals, $15,000 is here. We have the delegation list. Players 23, technical team 10, extra technical team therapists, extra physiotherapists, extra video analyst, physical trainer, officials, GFA, president, management committee, protocol, media officer, ministry stroke deputy minister, chief director, chief accountant, or purse holder, parliamentary select committee, here 2, scouts, caterers, national security, total 55 delegation. Budgetary summary, pre-tournament $433,112. Tournament phase itself, $3,466,400.
No,
Then I come to the next one. No, please. And here. Please, here. That is my budget. That's the budget. That's the budget. This is the budget DFA brought.
Chairman, I do not intend to say the nominee should not proceed, but what you are reading, is it different than what pertained at the ministry in previous times? Is it different?
I was going to the next budget that was brought by the chief director. Yes. Which?
Then just clarify, is the budget from GFA through the chief director to you, or is just the ministry preparing a budget and submitting it straight to you with clarity as to whether this is not best practice? That's all I need.
I inquired whether they had inputs from the GFA, whether they sat down with stakeholders to agree on the budget. The response I received from the chief director is that stakeholders to agree on the budget. GFA just sent them timelines or so, some format. That's the format. Template. They wrote a template for the budget. That's what the chief director told me. That's the template. They didn't add any figure. Reason being that anytime they put out figures, those figures are leaked to the media. And so therefore they were not comfortable giving any figure to the ministry or to the minister. So those figures were leaked. So they wanted the ministry to prepare their own budget for them. That's what the GFA told me. And I asked the GFA, that's what they said, yes. They confirmed it, all the chief directors, that's what they have dealt with the minister, the outgoing minister, Honorable Nii Lantey. That's how they have dealt with him. That's what they said. That any figure they brought to the minister was leaked to the media. That's what they said. The media will be discussing figures from the ministry. So they left it blank.
Are there any more information you want to share on those documents?
Yes, so this is the budget we worked with here. So this is the budget we worked with. Please, I'm coming to that. Now,
Chairman, the Honorable Nii Lantey needs some clarification before he proceeds, if you can allow him.
Let him finish, then he will have all the clarification he wants.
So,
okay.
On the 10th of January, and I was named by His Excellency President on the 12th of January. Understand? So on the 10th of this what was brought to the transitional team. They brought this budget to the transitional team. Here we have the bonus structure here. The prelims or the group seat, $10,000. Quarterfinal, $10,000. Semi-final, $12,000. Third phase, $12,000. Final phase, $15,000. Yes. So these are the figures. So these figures came from the Ministry of Youth and Sports. They gave it to the transitional team. And it was prepared by the previous government. They should make clear.
All right. You said you wanted some clarification.
Mr. Chairman, I'm so happy for this. Mr. Chairman, I want Honorable Nominee to understand, Mr. Chairman, that he is on oath. Yes. Mr. Chairman, is it the budget that was given to him by the ministry when understanding that this is the budget the GFA has brought? Was he giving another budget that is a reviewed budget by the ministry?
So we dealt with the one that was written to the chief of staff here, signed by Franquist, chief director. That's what I read last.
Can you provide the date of that communication?
That's 10th January 2017. Yes, that is here.
So by 10th January, do you know that the Honorable Nii Lantey was no longer exercising any mandate and authority as minister?
Honorable Ranking Member, that is obvious. So, are there any information that on 7th January you were not a minister? It is a matter of record. So,
Chairman,
please, please. I'm not going to encourage this personal banter. Honorable, do you wanted to ask any more? Or first, do you have any questions for the minister?
Honorable nominee, I wish to congratulate you on your nomination. Honorable nominee, congratulations.
Thank you, honorable colleague. Thank you.
And my colleague on the Public Accounts Committee in the previous parliament. I want to ask you, when are you going to stage a Paralympics game in Ghana? I mean, amputees who are also interested in sports, but has been given very little attention in this part of our world, which our country is one. I want to know your plans on the Paralympics, whether you would also engage them fully. It is not by their doing that they are disabled, and they have to live their lives like ordinary Ghanaians. What are your plans for them?
Thank you, honorable colleague and my leader. Yes, when it comes to our priority agenda for the ministry, they are the first category of group we are going to consider in whatever we do in terms of support, because some of them have attended international tournaments and have brought honor to our country, so we will support them adequately. Thank you.
Chairman, let me.
He will be allowed 2 questions, as he agreed with me.
Chairman, 2 would not be enough.
You agreed on that with me.
I agreed that I will be measured, and therefore 2 would not be adequate. Honorable Isaac Asiamah, congratulations. Did you benefit from any bonus as government representative in the sharing of bonuses in AFCON?
No, please. I went to Gabon. I didn't take a per diem. Not even a per diem. I didn't take anything.
Chairman, now that you have referred to budget and have in your possessions budget, how much budget was approved for AFCON 2017?
This is the budget we inherited from the previous government.
Won the budget at
$4.4 million this year.
So for AFCON 2017, the Ghanaian people can be assured that you spent only $4.4 million US.
And because we made savings of the bonus structure, the bonus structure alone put together is $3.1 million. So now there's been a slash down of $1.5 million by this government intervention. We've slashed it down by 50%. So the bonus structure that was part of this $4.4 million, that structure has been started by 50%. So we've made savings of $1.5 million from this budget.
Where is that $1.4 million? And when?
The money was paid upon releases releases. So
how much total releases do you get from government?
They are yet to reconcile the accounts. So when the reconciliation is done, I'll get the final figure. And
if there was no reconciliation, how did you arrive at 1.4?
No, it's a slash on an item, bonus structure. So that is known.
So Ghana spent less than 4.4 million on AFCON 2017.
Per the slash, that is so.
Minus the slash or per the slash?
Semantics, minus, if that's to make you.
Mr. Chairman, I'm aware that Right Sports, led by Yao Sechi and Azuma Nelson Foundation, have been doing their best for the development of basketball and boxing, respectively. What will you do to promote further these enterprises of basketball and boxing, in particular working with the legend Azuma Nelson, and making boxing more attractive to young people so that Ghana can develop new champions in that area?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Honorable Minority Leader. Yes, I think boxing is one of our traditional sports. Over the years, Ghanaians have enjoyed boxing. So it is important that we, once again, revisit what was done in the past to get us world champions. So look at it. And the basketball, also a key aspect that we'll look at as part of developing all the other sporting disciplines. As I said, we are going to create a special desk at the ministry to look at all the sporting disciplines. Thank you.
What will you do to promote boxing?
Well, they have an association, first of all, the GBA, Ghana Boxing Association, who engage them, sit down with them to know their peculiar needs, their challenges, and then from there, we'll move on what specific interventions that are necessary for boxing to develop. Thank you.
There is a state-of-the-art boxing gym bequeathed to you as incoming minister by the previous administration. What will you do with the facility to promote boxing in Ghana?
I'm here to visit the place, but the key point is that, yes, it's a good facility, but even the maintenance aspect of it, I'll look at the maintenance regime so that it can stand the test of time to support boxing. And also, once we have such a facility, organizing events and those things should be one of our priorities. Thank you.
Noting that the tenure of the previous government and its appointees lapsed on January 6th, midnight, it cannot be the case that any budget could have been prepared by the Honorable Nii Lantey. And if he did, in what capacity did he prepare that budget?
Okay, the key point is that he should let us know the budget that he prepared, because he was supposed to have done that one. Budget for pre-tournament, where was it? So he didn't do that. So he had no budget for AFCON 2017 as a minister. Please, that for me is dangerous.
And you haven't come across a budget which had 3,375,700 prepared as budget process to support AFCON 2017. Is that the case?
No such budget is before me.
And the chief director did not submit any such budget to you. Is that the case?
Because I was so particular about it, the first one, I made him sign. The second one, too, is signed. Yes, all these documents are signed.
Signed by?
The chief director.
And not the minister?
No, so I don't have his budget.
And not the minister?
The chief director signed it. That is what I have here.
And therefore, not the minister? Why?
The chief director takes instructions from the minister. He's here.
So are you saying that every document signed by a chief director, we should hold a minister responsible?
Ultimately responsible is the minister.
You indicated youth development. We are aware of the youth training centers in the Upper East region, Sandema, and the Volta region, and many parts of the country. And you promised to deal with the skills mismatch, providing the young people with employable skills. Can you elaborate with us 3 practical steps you intend to take to build the skills of our young people as minister responsible for youth?
First of all, I've identified that there are many unskilled youth out there. Those are the people we need to even target most, get them the training. There are simple trades and vocations that we can engage them in. Carpentry, joinery, catering, these things are there. What we have now is we have training and skill centers. The challenge they are faced with is funding of those centers. So that even feeding grants don't even go. So we're going to make sure that they get the feeding grants on time so that they can continue to feed them and then educate them.
Chairman, can the nominee share with this committee what plans he has to elevate the local league in Ghana? It appears that at the weekend, the entire Ghanaian sports-loving fans are interested in what goes on at the EPL, English Premier League. Even the majority leader will be interested in what Man U is doing, not what Ashanti Kotoko, Bofuakwa, or RTU may be doing. What are your plans to help the local league?
Yeah, I think I've already alluded to the fact that we need to promote our domestic league. Key is about retention of players. Yes, Ghanaians are watching these leagues outside because they have stars. Are we building domestic stars? We need to build our stars. But you can only do that when you're able to retain players for a number of years. That is it. But in doing so, you need to also position them well. And that's why I did indicate that we are going to introduce what I call domestic content in the selection of players to the national teams. So that if players know that they can play in Ghana here and they will be called to the national teams, they will be motivated. That's the point. Because one of the reasons why they move out is that they are not even called to the national teams. But with this one, they will be able to do that. Also, I did indicate that, as we speak, that there are about 3 regions that do not have clubs at the that is the best. And sponsorship is a key factor. Sponsors are also interested in the visibility of their products. So we have regions that are not even part of the league. Why would they sponsor the league? Because they want visibility, their products to be out there so that they can also make money. So these are the areas we are looking at. And also, ambush marketing, for example, is a big disincentive to sport development in this country. So that's it.
Chairman, what plans does the nominee have for the development of local talents and local players, given that the country seems to be giving a high premium only to foreign-based players to the disadvantage of local groomed players?
I think it's a quota system, the local content. There should be local content in the selection of players to our national teams. That also has a big booster, a big motivation to the players playing in our domestic league so that they can stay. Because when the players stay longer, they're able to mature and when they become...
Do you have a quota for us, like 60-40, 80-20, in that respect, in terms of prioritization of local players against foreign players?
I will engage the GFA, and then we'll have a policy direction on that.
How many sports associations do we have, and do you intend to continue to support them with public funds?
I remember at the last count, I mentioned 40. Then they told me one was added just last month. So we have 41.
Do they all get support from you, and can they continue to count that you would support them financially?
Sure, we will do our best as a ministry.
Will you be transparent in letting us know how much money goes to supporters traveling?
That is the taxpayers' money, so it should be transparently known to everybody. It's for Ghanaians, that's the point. And for me as ranking member, I've raised several issues on that. So please, we are going to be more transparent and accountable to the people of Ghana.
How do you intend to be accountable to the people of Ghana?
Allowing the institutions of state to work. Parliament provide their oversight. Those ones should work so that if you are found culpable to have embezzled funds, the law should deal with you. That's accountability.
Chairman, my final question. Fiscal education. will you support the revival of physical education and for deeper competition within our school system and respect of athletes for competitive athletic international and local engagement?
Physical education is a key component of the classical definition of sports. So for me, that is key. That's paramount. When you want to define sports in every literature, wherever you go, physical education is a key component. That's the classical definition of sports. So for me, it should be given the priority attention it deserves in all schools. That's why I said that we're going to encourage and promote school sports. Very important. And not only that, maybe you're not here, we did indicate about setting up colleges of sports. Mr. Chairman Ranking Member, it's so shocking that in this country, we don't even have a single college of sports. We don't have.
Where will you cite the college of sports?
We have indicated in the manifesto that there are 3 zones we've identified. The Savannah Belt, or the Northern Belt, the Middle Belt, and of course the Coastal Belt. So those locations,
Savannah Belt location. Savannah Belt, will it be hanging between?
So the locations will involve stakeholders.
He has answered all those questions as your way. So, but because you're not here, I allowed you so much space. But
Chairman, I was not here for good purpose.
I don't disagree with that.
Representing you on the floor for your 4th report to be presented.
Thank you very much.
It should not appear it was dereliction of duty.
It was never intended to appear so. Right. You've answered the questions on the supporters union. That was because you're the only MP on record to have advocated for supporters to be taking, and in that on that day, you actually demonstrated how when you were playing in your student days, and you actually sang the song on the floor of the house. The day you sang and made the speaker laugh until she put her head down. That song, you remember that song?
Man, can I repeat that song?
We don't want you to repeat that song here, but
maybe today my voice is so good, but I can try. We best hear me, Fahuni not to form, Fahuni not to form. Mesu just hear my word. We best hear me, Fahuni not to form, Fahuni not to form. Mesu just hear my word.
That, I guess that is the only song in the Hansard. So I want you to assure us, we have already given that we continue to support the supporters union. But my doctor sent me this from Confanoche, Dr. Rendorf. He says he wants to know what you would do to get the entire Ghanaian population to be physically active. Knowing that in Kumasi, where he is, for example, all walkways have been taken up by hawkers, so that even people who want to walk, doing shopping and things cannot. How do you, would you help to get Ghanaians physically active to improve their health?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This involves a lot. I believe in the fact that we need to change the way we plan our towns and cities. That is the first point. Community parks is something we should encourage. So, Chairman, elsewhere, as you know, community parks are all over the place. Community parks are in abundance. I remember I traveled to Brazil, and it's so fantastic. The children close from school, and where they go, the next is a community park. And you see their parents, it's a routine thing they do, taking them to those parks. They park their cars there, watch their kids play before they take them back to their homes. So I think we need to look at the creation or the construction of community parks across the board in all communities. We're part of the Assembly's own planning program. Because it's about where to walk, where to train. That's the key. You know what happened to our own and our unfortunate former Minister for Youth and Sports? So unfortunate, just walking, and he was knocked down. That is it. So people even fear to walk on our streets because of some of these things. So it's a whole lot we need to declare a national day of walking for Ghanaians. Maybe that will help all of us. So that at every month, maybe first Saturday of every month, we all decide to take maybe 1 hour walk, all of us. We can do that as we had this National Sanitation Day. Exercise is important. So as a country, we can have a National Day of Walk for all of us. Thank you. Or a National Day of Keep Fit. We can do that, of Keep Fit, properly constructed by Honorable Obiamwa. A National Day of Keep Fit. That for me is a proper way to go.
Keep fit has too many repercussions. Work is better.
Work is better. Is okay.
Well, I think that will be it. If there are any persons to be acknowledged.
The following persons were here to support the nominee. We have Nana Amampene Boateng Chum II. Nina Hine, Nana Ejari Boateng and the Queen Mother, Tano Dumasi Hine. And then we have Nana Osei in Tim, Sepa Sehine, Nana Kofi Asante, Inquiry Penny Hine, representative. We have Isaac Kofi Mafo, the NPP chairman, and other NPP constituency executives. All of you acknowledged, yes. We have Honorable Wilberforce Owusu-Ansah, former DC of the nominees constituency. And then we have Madam Paulina Donko, the sister to the nominee, and other family members herein present. And then we have Mr. Franquist, the Chief Director, Ministry of Youth and Sports, also here. And then we have Joe Benge, Director General, National Sports Authority. And then we have Honorable Kojoba Ajiman, former MP for Agogo, where are you? Asante Achim North. Agogo MP, which many call him the Fulani MP. And so these are the persons that came to support the nominee. Thank you.
We thank you all for coming.
Chairman, is Tano Dumasi Krasi and Enya Krasi?
You're out of order.
My chief is here, so.
Okay.